Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back. Took a week off, not necessarily by choice. The month of September kind of got away from me, but here we are, October now. So hopefully things are a little less hectic. They won't be. But we are back maximizing your Monday. I have a new guest. As you can see, Lindsay took some time out of her busy schedule to jump on here with me. So, Lindsay, very appreciative to have you joining the call and discussing everything going on in your world as well.
Thank you for having me.
Course. So, like I had said, a busy week, busy month ahead. October is kind of crazy in our household, which so I guess the household having the flu last week is probably good timing because now we're fingers crossed in the clear as we have all these plans coming up. So, as we look forward to the week ahead, some of the things that are motivating me is, if you watch the show, listen to the show, Philly sports kind of dominate a lot of my interest, especially now in the fall. So Phillies playoffs. I am a season ticket holder, so I got some tickets can't go just because of work and family obligations. So I was able to just pass those off. My brother-in-law and my niece are going to one game. My uncle and my aunt are going to the other. So nice to set the family up with that experience. And fingers crossed they move forward a little bit, and I get to enjoy the next round or so. But still, fun times in Philadelphia until the inevitable come crashing down phase. So I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts here. So it's one of the main things that I have looking forward to. Another main thing this coming Saturday is my birthday. I'm at the age now where I don't like get super excited about it or like call it my birth month or week or anything like that or get too crazy. But my wife and daughter do typically do some fun things. So as cliche as it sounds, I'm looking forward to like the homemade arts and crafts things that my daughter usually puts together for me for my birthday. So looking forward to celebrating that. And I do have some upcoming travel on the weekend as well. After my birthday, I'm going to be gearing up for a conference in Cincinnati. So just doing some stuff to get prepared for that as we look into the following week. So a lot of things on the horizon that I'm getting geared up for. So those are kind of some of the goals that I have as well. So I went to a conference in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, the NBMBAA conference at the PA Convention Center, which was really enlightening, but it's the first conference that I did as part of the company here. So I was a little rusty in terms of, bringing some swag and having my sales pitch down. So thank you to everyone that I met at that conference for the patience and for like engaging with me and letting me talk to you about the company. But now I'm prepared. So it's more so just getting more stuff in terms of preparedness for what I need to discuss, the roles that I'm working on, things like that. And with travel on the horizon, that means I need to have some things set up already for when I'm going to be out of office, a little harder to reach. So making sure I have all of that taken care of as well. And then one win that I'm celebrating from the past week, we were able to close out 3 positions, 2 of them with internal candidates and then one with an external. So always really cool to see the internal candidates get to take that next step in their career with the company. And I know they were both very excited about the potential opportunities here. So getting them in line for that and seeing where they go from here is going to be really cool for us. But it also kind of helps to kind of showcase what we do as a company and what we like to do to encourage growth. So that's my week. Lindsay, what is going on with you this week?
Yeah, so sounds like we have some similarities. I have my daughter's birthday coming up in October, my youngest. So looking forward to, she's a teenager. So looking forward to planning some things that will kind of make her day. And she'll be spending time with family and friends, and we'll be hosting that. So that'll be fun. We also have a couple getaways, just 2 long weekends in October. That's kind of motivating me, similarly to what you said, to getting a lot of things done now so that when we have those long weekends, we can kind of truly rest and relax. And really, they're very simplistic weekends. One's a little bit north, one's a little bit south, and both will be with family and spending a lot of time outside and fishing, which we enjoy as well. So,
Right. Very nice. Awesome. So one of the reasons why I had reached out to you and asked you to be on the show and wanted to bring you on is you've recently kind of started your own venture and you're focusing on being a health coach, which I think there's a lot of misconceptions about, what that is. A lot of people just kind of take that side for granted at times and don't really look into the benefits that they can, reap from working with the health coach and taking that as a priority in terms of their day to day. So, first question is just kind of, what motivated you to do that? You know, you're working in different industries like you did. What were you seeing that made you think like, hey, this is something that I think a lot of people are missing out on. I would like to educate people on that.
Yeah, so I'll try and condense my long-winded answer into something a little smaller, but it was a couple things. So my last role, I spent 7 years leading a team of recruiters and sales professionals in the staffing and recruiting industry, which you're very well versed in as well. And man, the thing I loved about that job was my team and coaching those who worked with me. That was kind of where I found my passion, where I found my drive, and where I really felt my strengths were. So with this new path, I still get to keep that professional side of my coaching abilities and motivating others and helping them to be held accountable to their goals.
Mhm.
On the flip side, in my personal world, for the last many years, longer than 7 years, I have become more and more and more interested in health coaching and the topics that it covers. Of course, for many years, I wasn't really envisioning myself as a health coach. I just wanted to learn all the information for myself, for my family. Unfortunately, I've had some people very close to me who have experienced some really unfortunate illnesses and diseases that we have to ask, right? Were they preventable? Was
Mhm.
there something we could have done before we got to this point? And even once the diagnosis occurs, what else can be done other than a pill or a treatment, right? And there's so many things that people don't know about that can help with those things. So I really, through learning all of that in my own journey, my family has also kind of become interested in the topic. Some would say not interested, but obsessed because we've made a lot of changes in our personal lives and around our home to kind of eliminate some of those potential negative impacts and toxins, chemicals, things that are kind of constantly coming at us and we don't really even think about it.
Right.
So, tying those two worlds together, right? And of course, this year has been a bit of a challenging year within the staffing and recruiting industry, and then within the company that I was in as well. So, it kind of moved the timeline up of what I was thinking as far as when I might go out on my own. But I really feel like my alignment is critical here of what I'm good at professionally and where my true passion is. And I'm hoping that not just I benefit from that, but also my clients will benefit from
Sure.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit too, in terms of potential clients and people that are interested in your services, because health is such a broad term. It can apply to a lot of different things. And like you had mentioned, things that people don't really think of, it goes beyond just physical health, but there's so much more to it. So when people are coming to you, that initial outreach to you in terms of, hey, I'm interested in the services you provided, what are some of the things that they can come to expect from you if they're working with you as their health coach?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. That's a great question. So, where health coaching differs a bit from the traditional healthcare model is we're very holistic.
Mhm.
So, someone might say, hey, I would like to work with you because I'm getting constant migraines, or because I just can't sleep well at night, or I was just diagnosed with diabetes, whatever their particular issue is. And we will talk about that. However, we will talk about their entire lifestyle.
Mhm.
So it's usually a combination of more, multiple things. So we're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about activity level. We're going to talk about their sleep habits, their stress management techniques, and how do they, handle this crazy life that we live in. We'll talk about their relationships, about their careers, everything that makes them them.
Mhm.
And in looking at every single piece, we can usually identify at least a few things where we can say, okay, let's make some small tweaks here, here, and here, very small habit changes that will encourage the longevity of those changes, right? So that we're not doing anything extreme that in 2 weeks people are like, okay, this is too hard. I'm not doing this, right? We'll do little tweaks here and there in those areas. And soon enough, people realize, wow, wait a second, that changed something over here I didn't even think was related, yet
Mhm.
it was, right? So
Right.
it really truly is that holistic approach, and it can be all of those topics and even more.
Right. So when people are coming to you, how often are you seeing that, work is obviously one of the great stressors that a lot of people face. So, how often has that been the instance for you to coach them through that type of stress and get them more healthy when it comes to the work-life balance, the mental health aspect in their work life? And what are some of the things that you try to guide them towards when it pertains to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, right now, all of my clients are experiencing pretty severe levels of work stress. You've probably even seen that in the news. Like the statistics are just kind of crazy right now
Mhm.
in the workplace overall. And even up to this point, even people I have coached kind of informally over the years, if you will, because like I said before, some people would say we were obsessed with this stuff. So they just kind of came for advice and then it was more of an informal setting. But yeah, it's super, super common. So within that workplace stress piece in and of itself, we might look at, okay, well, what are you doing prior to work in that day? What are you doing to set your mindset to best prepare you to handle the stress that's coming at you? Right? If it's kind of an external thing. So we might talk about breathing techniques. We might talk about morning meditations, great gratitude exercises, all sorts of different things to kind of get them in a different mindset to be able to, again, prevent some of that extreme stress. And then taking breaks throughout the day. We talk about multiple ways that we can do that. Sometimes we don't even have to get up from our desks if that's a problem, if there's not enough breaks, that we can actually take. But what can we do internally, mentally? Again, breathing maybe might be part of that. And then how are we overall taking care of ourselves with our other things like diet, the nutrition that we're getting, the physical activity that we have, and then our sleep. Because if those things are off, we won't be able to handle that stress quite as well.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So for someone that did work in staffing and guiding people into new careers, now to do that for yourself is sometimes a little bit more challenging. It's easy to talk to other people about their hopes and dreams and get that answer, but when you ask yourself that question, a little bit more of a timid response sometimes. So when you were going through that process in terms of I want to take this and make this my approach to my new position, what were some of the challenges that you faced early on, whether it was with yourself to get to that point or in general just to kind of do the research of how do I get started in terms of going down this path?
Yeah, honestly, I would say the biggest challenge that I have faced is learning how to build my own business.
Mhm.
What are the legalities of it? What are the technicalities of it? What do I need to have in place to protect myself and best serve my clients? Up to this point, I've always worked for employers. So those very basics of business were always provided for me. Luckily, the education I have and then some of the past roles I've had too have allowed me kind of insight into that, but I've
Yeah.
still never done that on my own. So those challenges were very real. And I'd say I'm still working through a little bit of them. But man, I have found so many great resources out there. There's a ton online. It does take time to sift through. So if anybody is thinking of starting their own business, please dive into what's available. The Small Business Association, there's a ton of resources in PA, a lot of them free, if not free, pretty low cost. And those resources are amazing. The other big thing that I did to overcome that challenge is I talked to several entrepreneurs in our area. How did you get started? What were the steps you took? Who would you recommend I reach out to? What would set me up for the best success? What did they do that maybe they look back now and say, man, I wish I had done that differently? So kind of piecing all of that together from a multitude of sources has been really, really helpful. Just last week, you mentioned earlier, one of the wins we had, right? Like one of the wins I had last week was finishing up some documentation, the formation of the LLC, and then those associated documents and things and agreements with a legal resource that I was guided to, completely based on referral and only cost me state fees. Like awesome resources out there, and they've been tremendously beneficial for me.
Awesome. Awesome. So, I mean, if people have watched the show, listened to the show, you know that I do a lot of work or try to with transitioning teachers. And one of the main questions I get from them, because, I came from the classroom into recruiting, they always face the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt. Can I do this? I've been doing this for so long. How do I do something new? And that certainly is something that not just educators will face, but really anyone trying a new position, even myself going from staffing, recruiting to healthcare to now corporate. It's a change that, can I do this, and talking yourself into that. So for you, with a bigger step, because you're starting your own business and kind of going out there independently, what were some of those challenges that you faced in that end in terms of overcoming those, I'm doing something completely different now, how do I do this, can I do this, yes I can, type of self-confidence?
Sure. So there's a couple steps taken along the way. So once I realized that, hey, we can align these things, we can align both sides of my life here so that I'm able to do both more in alignment, but also to better serve myself, my family, and everyone that I'm working with. I realized I need to make it official. So I kind of alluded to earlier, we're a little bit obsessed with learning this information. So we're constantly reading, we're constantly, getting news articles because we're signed up for every email notification on the planet of different research that comes out and studies that come out as it relates to the health world, but also, podcasts and things. While we're barraged with that, it really doesn't do anything to set me apart from the crowd, right? So the first step I took was I have to enroll in an actual course so that people can see I actually have true education here. So
Mhm.
I signed up to get that official certification, which is great because now I'm legally certified to provide health coaching services for any adult, so 18 years and up through their golden years, and hopefully well beyond that as they expand their health span. And then the other step I took, because like you said, no longer going, to work every day when you've worked a full-time career for many years is daunting. Like it is definitely something that you have to overcome. You have to really weigh, what are your comfort levels of risk and what aren't. So for me, the other step I took was I knew I needed to identify something part-time to at least keep something coming in, financially for me
Mhm.
while I'm getting ramped up in building this client base. And little off topic, but really cool story there. If you just look, you never know what you'll find. I ended up finding this amazing organization. So I'm working currently for a nonprofit organization. You probably saw it on my LinkedIn. And it fits right into my passion. So, I mean, it just couldn't have been more perfect. It's a nonprofit organization who provides missions to give global healthcare to everyone in the world who needs it. So, a couple trips a year and going all over the place, and I'm helping to support that happening. So, making sure that you have something, right? So I don't panic and kind of give up on this dream of mine. I think was a really important step to know that I've got some kind of income to make sure the bases are covered, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the other interesting topic here that I want to discuss with you is, because I'm typically talking to people who've transitioned from education into something new. So transitioning teachers can kind of get an idea of, transferable skills question. But as you alluded to earlier, the staffing and recruitment industry is also one that's struggling right now. We're seeing people that have to pivot from talent acquisition, recruiting into something new there as well. So for you, what are some of the skills that you developed to working in the staffing industry that you feel have kind of prepared you now to try something new in a different realm altogether?
Agility. Constantly being agile. But no, like the most of all for me, it was those leadership skills and really coaching others. And by coaching others, I mean not just telling them what to do, but really being able to engage with someone, hear what they're saying, kind of get to the root of what they want, whether that be jobs or now health outcomes,
Mhm.
to be able to hear that and then help them work through that translation of, okay, so here's reality, here's where we are today, here's where we want to be. What are the small, incremental, achievable steps that we can take to get there? And then the other thing I would say is I've always been pretty organized. But the staffing and recruiting industry, I mean, I had to be over the top organized because it's so fast paced. As you know, there's so much going on. There's, things coming at you from in my case, from my team, from the candidates, and from the companies that we were supporting to help find their individuals. So lots of different information coming all at once, and being able to organize that and then prioritize it. So you're working, we use the term closest to the money,
Mhm.
if you will, but putting those high priority items up to the top of your list so that you're making sure you're taking care of the most critical things first.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now you're still kind of early on, but at the same time, you've taken the steps to start this path and start your business. So, with that being said, how has it felt for you now these first few months to kind of see this to being a reality? Not just the idea, the concept anymore. Hey, I might want to try this out, but now you're actually taking the steps and you're doing it. So, what are some of the rewards that you've seen so far that you're hoping to build upon as you continue to grow and learn?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So, it's only been several weeks at this point. So, my certification actually only became final on September 3rd. So, we're still very, very new here.
Mhm.
In working with some clients already, I think my biggest wins are the fact that number one, they're identifying smaller goals, right? So many times you've seen, and it's true for them right now as well, they've tried these big massive goals before, and like I said, then it's too much. It's too much all at once, and it's very easy to give up on those. Whereas these smaller goals, they're sticking with them. So that's very, very rewarding to see, and I can't wait until they keep layering those and seeing even bigger benefits, because right now, the benefits start small and then they grow. And then the other thing that's really exciting is, without the full time commitment that I had, I am able to be available for them at any time. So my flexibility of what I'm able to offer has really been exciting for them and also for my family. So there's definitely, again, two sides to this where I feel like it's a win-win-win, if you will, for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I typically will ask anyone who joins me on the show as to the advice stage. And for you, as someone who worked with a lot of different clients to get them into a new role, whatever that might have been, what is some of either the advice that you used to impart on people when they were going through their job search in terms of how I can support you as part of this, or advice that you've received kind of along the way, whether that was starting your own business or in other positions that you've held that you've always kind of kept with you as this is key advice that has helped me to find the success that I've had?
Yeah. So I guess my personal piece of advice is going to be full transparency. Be transparent with others along your journey, but also be transparent with yourself of what you truly need and what you truly want. And it's okay to get down to the heart of that, even if it seems impossible. When they're thinking about looking for a new career, if they're thinking, "Man, I'm never going to find just this perfect role." Don't give up on it without even trying, right? Like,
Mhm.
get out there again, just be honest with you, be honest with people you're interviewing with, and just see what happens. We had coached numerous different candidates that we had worked with who went on interviews, and they would tell us, we got them to a point where they trusted us. They had built the rapport with the recruiters, and they would tell us, this is perfect except for this one thing. We're
Mhm.
like, you just have to ask, what's the worst that can happen, right? They say no. So just that open and honest, transparent communication along the way throughout your job search with you, with those close to your family, and then with the people that you're interviewing with is really, really important. And it's okay to do so, because it's going to end up in a better match for everybody in the long run, if everybody's clear on what the needs are and the expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. So then before I let you go for the day, I always just kind of like to give you some time, where can people find you to talk a little bit about the company that you started, the services that you can provide, and how people can get in touch with you to discuss that as well.
Yeah, thank you. So you can find my personal Facebook and Instagram accounts just under Lindsay Hoke. They are both going to be kind of starting to fill up with more health coaching things. They've already got tidbits in there. I am on LinkedIn, as you know, again, Lindsay Hoke on there as well. And then my website is this close to done. So very soon you can find me on there, and that will give everybody a wealth of information of what I specialize in, how I can help, all of the benefits, all of the topics. It might not be somebody who just wants to change their nutrition, or it might not be somebody who wants to get a better exercise routine. It might be someone who wants more energy, or better sleeping habits, or maybe they just want more endurance during the sport that they're playing, or whatever it may be, right? So you'll be able to see all of that on my website, and that will be positiveoutcomeswithlindsay.com.
All right, perfect. Well, Lindsay, thanks again so much for jumping on here with me to discuss. Again, I think it's a very important topic that more people should take advantage of if they have someone that can help them along the way. So make sure you're connecting with Lindsay, follow along in her journey here, and we will see you next Monday.
Thank you.